This video is about administrative intake surveys. Intake should be conducted within 4 days of entry into grant-funded services. As a reminder, grant-funded services entry refers to when the client began utilizing SOAR grant funding. This does not mean entry into your program. Completed surveys should be returned to the Office of Behavioral Health within 5 days of completion. Email completed surveys to gipra@maine.gov and include the agency abbreviation, client ID, and survey type in the file name. Participation in the GIPRA survey is at the client's discretion. Many sections require client input and cannot be answered without client consent. However, provider staff must return an intake survey for all clients funded under the SOAR grant. If a client refuses to participate in a full GIPRA intake survey, program staff completes an administrative intake, or only Section A, record management. If a client refuses to participate in the intake survey, program staff does not complete a follow-up or discharge survey for that client. Next, we will go over how to complete the GIPRA form for an administrative intake. The first question you will complete is client ID. In order to ensure that information collected in the GIPRA survey remains confidential and de-identified, do not include any identifying information about the client in the ID, such as name or initials, date of birth, social security number, or mother's maiden name. Each client should be assigned a unique client ID to be used at each data collection point. This means the same ID should be used for intake, follow-up, and discharge. If a client drops out of your program and later re-enrolls, they should use the same ID number. If your organization already uses de-identified client IDs, you may continue to use that number. You will then move on to client type and select either treatment client or client in recovery. For survey date, fill in the date that you completed this form. You will then move on to survey type and select intake. For did the client consent to a full GIPRA survey, you will select no. Then you will move on to if you did not conduct a full GIPRA survey, select a reason, and you would select client was contacted but did not consent to a full GIPRA survey and select one of the reasons below. Once you have completed this question, you have completed an administrative intake and you can submit this form to gipra@maine.gov.